The title of my talk is Gauging the Popular Twix-Double Model. Okay, this is based on the work I done with Wei Zhi and Sming. Sming is here, the research fellow in the center, and Wei Zhi is now working a postdoc in Germany, and other collaborator is Arif, our regular visitor from Morocco. That work is still in progress. So let me mention the motivation of this work. As we know, dark matter and neutrino masses are basically imply they must be physically non-standard model. This is, I guess we all believe this. Otherwise, we're not going to work on anything. And the 2H double models is physically beyond the standard model. Is very popular. For example, in the MSSM, we need 2H double model because of the holomorphic nature of the slope potential, and also because of anomaly cancellation. And also the general 2H double model with some new phase, CT phases, that we can use it as a prototype model to study matter and antimatter asymmetry in the universe. In particular, the inert Higgs double model, we can, because of the discrete Z2 symmetry, the second Higgs doublet is odd under the parity, and they can play a role as a dark matter candidate. It's very popular. And also because of the Z2 symmetry, there's no favor changing neutral current in this at the tree level in this model. Also, other idea is to use the scalar singlet, not the doublet. And of course, this go back to many nice work, including many work by Xiaogang here to have summarized his work for many years. Using the scalar singlet as a dark matter. It's also based on the Z2. Now, however, Wilczek and Krauss argue that global symmetry might be violated by gravitational processes like the black hole evaporations or wormhole tunneling. So actually, they suggest that this is symmetry, and also because a few weeks ago, the distinguished lecture series in NCTS, Professor Oguri was telling us there was no global conserved charge. So, so that may be one of the motivations for actually promoting all of this discrete symmetry into a gauge symmetry. So we are going to do a very simple things to try to embed the 2H double model into irreducible representation of the SU2H new gauge group. We call it SU2H. So before I go into the detail of the model, let me just present some highlights of the model. The gauge group, the new gauge group will be SU2H cos another U1. I will explain why we need that one, the U1. The symmetry breaking in this model for the SU2 left, the standard model one, actually is triggered or induced by the breaking of the other one, SU2H. As usual, the X2, the second Higgs doublet, can be inert, but we don't need the Z2 symmetry, but it's protected by the gauge symmetry. And unlike the left-right, popular left-right model, the complex W prime field actually are not electrically charged. So I don't call it plus or minus, I call it P and M. It's not electrically charged in this particular model. So that's a motivation. So in the rest of my talk, I will just focus on how we come up with this model, how we set up the models, and talk a little bit about the symmetry breaking and Power couplings and other theoretical considerations. At the end, I mentioned a little bit about phenomenology. So here's the particle contents. As I mentioned, we have 2H doublet. We're going to embed it into a irreducible two-dimensional representation of the new group SU2H. And for the quark doublet, we will be making into a singlet. For the right-handed quark, U right and U down, we have heavy partner become as the doublet of the new SU2. And similar for the lepton. And also we did introduce the new right-hand neutrino with right-hand another heavy partner, and it's a doublet under SU2H. And you can see that the heavy guy here, the U right H or D right H, etc., are not at the right hand. So we are actually introduce some singlet. You can imagine, you can interpret this new singlet, fermion singlet, actually is a left-hand partner of this right-hand heavy guy. Besides the doublet, actually, we also need another doublet 5H, which breaks the SU2H. And the reason is that we have to give mass to these extra heavy guys, the heavy fermions. I will show you a little bit, I will talk a little bit more about this later. If you have these two doublet and one doublet for the SU2H and two doublet for SU2 left, that's not enough. Actually, if you do that without adding any new thing, the charge mix will be, from this H2 will be massless. That's not very good. So that's one of the reasons why we have to introduce triplet delta H of the SU2H. We will talk about that more later. So this is the particle content of the model. Is not as much as not as many as the SUSY, but still a lot. Let's look at Higgs potential. So this is a general, the Twig double model, the inert version. So the two mass term and 5 lambda. If you put it into irreducible representation, then you reduce to only 1 mu and 1 lambda. But we have other fields, so it's getting ugly. So we have 3 terms for the 3 field, the doublet and triplet, all by itself have their own mu square and lambda square. But there are other mixing terms. Here, the mixing term among this field have 2 mass terms and 3 cross lambda terms. I call it cross lambda because they link between the doublet and the delta, the triplet, and similar to other terms. Notice that there are other invariants we can write down using the doublet and the triplet. And that's one of the reasons we impose the U1X to eliminate this term. This is allowed with the SU2H invariance, but because of the U1 extra U1X charge, this term are eliminated. Okay, let's talk about symmetry breaking. So actually, you look at the quadratic term for the H1 and H2, it looks like this. The triplet web, B delta, and so on, and the other term, can actually, because of plus and minus here, actually the whole term is negative even for mu x squared positive mu x squared. And similarly for the phi 1 and phi 2 positive terms. In other words, if you have a web for the triplet, actually you can trigger the SU2 left symmetry breaking without assuming a negative mu x squared, just like ordinary situations. So I'm not going through this complicated formula, it's not necessary. Basically, the idea is that you have to solve the triplet web first and plug it into the doublet and solve for the symmetry breaking for SU2 and SU2H. So we did that. And then look at the Euclid couplings. Because of doublet, you cannot write down just the standard model Euclid is actually had to be paired up with other terms in order to make it SU2H invariance. And so you have extra term here. This is standard model Euclid coupling between the standard model Higgs and the down quarks. You have other terms for H2 with a heavy quarks, a heavy partner of the down right quark and the doublet Q. Similarly for the uptight quarks. So there's an extra term here. But notice that the standard model Higgs only coupled to the standard model fermions. The second one, which is absent in the inert Higgs doublet model because of the Z2, but it's allowing here. But we need that because of gauge invariance. But there's no single changing neutral current because only one Higgs doublet coupled to the standard model fermions. Similarly for the left-hand case. But here, actually, when you get a web, of course you can give the mass for the ordinary quarks, but the heavy guy is still massless because H2 has no web. So you have to, that's why you have to introduce some heavy singlet chi U and chi D. The partner you can think is the left-hand partner of the U right H and the D right H. And also the doublet of the SU2H right H here. So when you give the web to this extra doublet, the heavy guy will get the mass too. This is very nice. So the H2 in here, if there's no web, that can be candidate for dark matter. If the lightest one compared in all the heavy fermions and all the scalar, extra scalar, if the H1, the neutral one, is the lightest of all these new particles, it could be dark matter. And similarly, you can do the same thing for the leptons. So if for neutrino, we have a right-hand neutrino, when you get a web, then you can get a Dirac mass. So in this model, if you stop here, then you get a Dirac mass, small. The Yukawa coupling will be very small, plus. So might not be very attractive. So if you want Marana mass, then you can add some term with an extra triplet in the model, but it's not necessary. So notice that the H1 does not couple to the heavy fermions. The H2 coupled to one standard model fermion, one heavy fermion, but the H1 always coupled to the standard model fermions. So the H2, the H1 do not have new contribution for the heavy fermion, so it doesn't affect the Google fusion and the photon rate for standard model Higgs. The single string in LHC remain the same. However, the new charge contribution, we will come to that later. So other consideration is anomaly cancellation. We have checked that this is all the new anomaly basically is come from the SU2H. You can check that they are cancelled. For the standard model, actually trivial because the new fermion all pair up with become vector light. So the standard model part is the same. The new anomaly is coming from SU2H squared with the Hammer chart and so on. And you can also, for the new U1, they all cancel. You can also check the probability gravitational anomaly, they all cancel. And also, they are all together 12 SU2 lab doublet and a total of 24 SU2H doublet. So they're also free of the global anomaly of SU2 written. So summarize here is that we have a new, we introduce a new SU2H and also a U1, and I explain why we need all the extra field to make it consistent. And besides H2, actually, the neutral guy, chi nu, is a singlet, and also the neutrino right-hand H heavy guy can also be candidate of dark matter. So they are very rich content of dark matter in this model. The theoretical constraint that I'm talking is two of them. One is the vacuum stability. The scalar potential has to be bound from below, and also probability unitarity. So you look at the scalar amplitude in the scalar sectors. So I'm not going into that. I just flash the things. So the potential, I look at the quantic term in the potential and study the scattering amplitude for the scalar boson. For example, the first, this is the scattering amplitude, scalar to scalar. So the first row is correspond to this process, x6 to x6 and so on. And so the requirement of unitarity would be the eigenvalue of this metric has to be less than a part as usual. And we can add a channel like the x52 to x52, and we require this to be also eigenvalue is obvious because it's diagonal. Here's the off diagonal, the crossing lambda has to be less than a pi because this is diagonal matrix. And for the bound from below, we also work out the condition. And the only thing you can you notice is that some of the lambda, especially the mixing lambda, can be negative or positive. But the condition has to be satisfied. This one, in order to guarantee the potential to be bound from below. So then look at the mass match, the spectrum of the model. Because of the mixing term here, the new two-term mass, H lambda and M, H delta, and these two terms in the mixing, the phi delta and the H delta mass term. So they are very complicated mixing. All the scalar is actually 10 by 10 mass metric, but they can decouple into 2 3 by 3. And and then 4 one by 1. So the first one is this one. This one had the first term is the lambda h v squared. So this is the standard model term without mixing. But the other term, actually the standard model 125 hex has to be come up from this mass matrix with mixture of the h, the delta 3 and the phi 2. But the mixing has to be very small because the web v phi actually has to be greater than 10 TeV because of the mixing between the ZZ prime mixing constraint from the lab data. I will show you a little bit later. So one has to guarantee that this matrix has to have 125 GeV solution for the standard model Higgs. The other mass matrix mixing is from the Goldstone boson for the second for the phi doublet and the triplet, and also the second doublet H2, the neutral component of the second doublet H2. You go like this, and this matrix has 1, 0 eigenvalue because this one is Goldstone boson. So no matter after you mix it, it also has a 0 eigenvalue. And the other two eigenvalue would be the dark matter, could be dark matter, and also heavy ions, heavy things. So if the other massive particle, if the mass is less than all the heavy particle in the model, it could be the inner Higgs dark matter. The other charge, the other mass spectrum is charge Higgs. It's given by this formula is mh delta times the web of the triplet. You notice that this is actually very different from the inert Higgs doublet case, because in the inert Higgs doublet case there's no V delta. That means all the other terms will be cancelled, and it will only depend on the web of the triplet. So that's why we need the triplet in this model to give mass to the charge Higgs. And the other one are the Goldstone boson as usual. So we produce the 125 GeV Higgs. We look at this, this talk with this parameter choice. Actually, you can see that for very large range of this mass mixing, H delta mass parameters, the lambda H, the standard model coupling, actually very close to this standard model value, unless you go to very heavy, very large value of the mH delta, we begin to have a deviation for the lambda H. But the solution exists. Let's look at the gauge boson things, the gauge boson mass spectrum. The standard model W boson remains the same. There's no mixing between the W and the W prime in this model, which is quite nice, I think. The W prime actually had mass coming from all three webs, given by this formula. Maybe some of you might not see that at the bottom. But all the three webs contribute to the W prime mass. For the neutral gauge boson, actually there are 4 by 4 of them. They depend on the web of the V and the V phi, and does not depend on V delta. The triplet only contribute to the W prime, but not for the Z prime and Z double prime. So it's a 4 by 4 matrix, and this matrix actually has 2 zeros. One of them is the photon, of course. The other one is, we can call it dark photon, but it's massless at this level, so it's not very good. So the solution would be, you can introduce the Stokova mass term, just let many people do that. Or you can just make it very heavy or set the coupling GH go to 0, just for simplicity. I don't like this solution. But we're going to present the solution, the sum of the numerical result by assuming GH is 0, just for simplicity for now. But eventually, I think a mass term will be more favorable. Or you can add another Higgs in the model to do the Higgs mechanism. But again, it depends on Higgs. So if you set the GH to 0, then it becomes 3 by 3. Then the story is just the same. You can get the Z prime mass and a heavy limit, then you can get this fixing angle that depends on this heavy web V5. So the data from the lab, all data from the Z prime, direct search at the lab, or actually from FC and also from the E plus E minus at the lab, you can constrain the V5 has to be greater than 10 TeV. That's the limit, the lower limit for the mass. The Z5 is 1.5 TeV per sample. You can derive the web has to be very, very heavy, 10 TeV or so. So let's look at some plot. Here is As I mentioned, the charge Higgs is the only new contribution to the gamma-gamma mode. So we have to make sure they're okay with the LC signal string for the 2 gamma and the Z gamma. And you can see that here is the 1 sigma range of the data, and we have parameter space. We give you all these. This red line is the red line is the photon. The blue line is the photon depth, and they are actually all below 1 in this model. Because there's only 2. There's in the potential is basically controlled by lambda h and the E plus some mixing. So, and you look at the old analysis of magnetic stop rep, the same plot, but here there are other parameters because the charge Higgs actually have lambda 3 here in this cost term. So you can hear because the lambda 3 in that case can be positive or negative, But in this case, in our case, there's only one lambda Higgs controlling in this case, and they have the diagonal lambda has to be positive. That's why this is actually controlled by positive. They're all less than 1 in this case. The lambda H cannot be negative because of the band from below constraint on the potential. So, but in the inert Higgs doublet model, there can be some parameter space that can overshoot the standard model value of 1. So this is a different prediction between the 2 models. And here, at the final 5 minutes, I will just show some plot recently scanned by Sming. So this is the correlation between the different parameters, the lambda. This is the lambda h versus the mixing lambda h delta. The blue, the gray line is basically we impose only the theoretical constraint coming from bound from below on potential and the unitary constraint on the scattering amplitude of the scalars. And the blue region are basically the theoretical constraint plus the Higgs data from FC. For example, the Higgs 125 GeV solution, and also the Higgs the signal string for the gamma-gamma and gamma-Z mode. So we can see that it will cut off a lot of region if you improve both, as expected. On the other hand, the standard model, there's only one point here, 0.13 for lambda h. Okay. So this is a different plot for different lambda correlation between 2 lambda on this on a scale of parameter space. So there are a lot of parameter space, but here we only take into account for the 2 types of theoretical constraint. One is the we call it pH, the bound from below, and the unitarity, and also the Higgs data. But presumably there are more data to look into to take into account. That will be constraint more on the parameter space. So the only interesting thing is this the little block here. Basically, you can notice that the lambda h delta can be negative. Is allowed can be negative, but the lambda h diagonal and lambda have to be positive, and this has been chopped out because of the basically the 125 GeV constraint. Negative is not favorable actually in this in the model for the lambda h delta and these parameters. So I see that plot similarly, so I just flash through it. Okay, nothing very interesting. The last plot I will show is this one. The signal string for the diphoton and the gamma Z versus the charge Higgs. And you notice that in all the scatter point actually is below R equal 1, the standard model prediction. And as I showed earlier, in that case actually we can have bigger than 1 situation. But here, all the data for these 2 processes, the signal string has less than the standard model 1. So it's easy to we can test this prediction of the model. Okay, let me make a conclusion. So we have a model construct embedding the Z2 symmetry into a local gauge group, SU2. SU2 breaking of the standard model SU2 was triggered by the breaking of the new SU2. The inert doublet can be emerged as a magnetic candidate not from a Z2 symmetry but from a local gauge symmetry. The W prime is complex but not electrically neutral. And we also look at the ZD prime mixing and also the Higgs meteorology, and it seems that there are many parameters we can adopt can be consistent with all the data so far. But we are not done yet. Actually, we are trying to implement more constraints to the model, and some of them will be the SPU, the electro weak fission data, and also we want to look at the electric meteorology for the new base boson, for example, and heavy fermions, and extra-scalar, and so on. And another interesting process is a rare process. For example, H2 mu time, and tau time is one of the early pioneer on this process of SSC. And also for the mu-E conversion process, and so on. So, and also dark matter phenomenology, of course. So this model is very rich in phenomenology, and we are still working on the cross of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Question about the triplet. So this triplet, does this violate the custodial?
Yes. Yeah, this is not Trojan object. Yeah, this is not Trojan. You implement two, the usual story, and which my next picture will explore all the fancy consequence of the Trojan object. So I don't want to. Yeah.
This triplet also can provide the Majorana neutrino mass.
Yeah, you can add one more term in there, and you can do that by getting this term. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I think that's somewhere. So you can add that term, and you can get a Majorana this term. But the point is that the right-hand neutrino is a couple of doublet, so we cannot write down three-level mass term. But you can write down SU2 just a gauge invariant term. With the new doublet, the delta M has to be carried as a number, unlike the delta H, the previous one. This is a new term. That's why we need to do a new one to carry up this term. Otherwise, more term in the potential. It needs to analyze.
Then, with two doublets, you can generate Majorana mass just with type 2 seesaw.
With two doublet.
Yes.
So this is a term, yeah. So this is an extra term. The triplet, the delta N is a triplet.
No. The coupling that breaks left number between the triplet, the doublet Higgs, and the singlet Higgs.
Yeah.
No right-handed neutrinos whatsoever.
Yeah. Just
And how about CP violation zones?
yeah, so very good question. Here, if you look at the potential, it's very symmetric. So more than you like. So because of SU2, there's I don't think there's any imaginary thing that you can come out from this potential. Yeah, I don't see any imaginary thing because they are fixed by the H bar, H dagger or something. So there's no new source from this scalar sector. It may be good or bad, I don't know.
Lambda 5 term is
Yeah, that is
CP by the way.
right. That is an inner Higgs doublet. But in the model, we're talking all this term is collapsed into one lambda, and this term is not there. So lambda 4, lambda 5 is 0, lambda 1 equal to lambda 3 and 4 because of this gauge invariant. They group into this. There's no more lambda 5 in this structure. I think, yeah. So this is, I don't think the lambda 5 is there. So you don't have CP in here. Even the mixing term, I don't think we use CP.
Okay, if no further questions, let's